Hello and welcome to the Dare and Doing podcast. I'm Hester and I'm joined by the brilliant Ben Bowman. Ben, season's ended. How you feeling?
I feel good, man. Yesterday
Yeah?
was I'm really just really buzzing to be in the Europa League. That's
love
why
it.
the beaming smile across my face. Nothing else happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good day. I'm kind of glad the season's over, if I'm being honest. I don't even mean that from like a negative thing. I'm just like the losses that we sort of had in that run.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it makes you, even without Europe, like it feels like we've played so many more games than we did, because I think the conversation around Spurs has become so much more like, I don't know, like exhausted and like all encompassing in a way, where because there's been so much chat about Ange, especially like in the last couple of weeks and after the City game and all that crap. Like, I don't know, like it feels like a little bit of a weight off your shoulders. But it was a good way to sort of send everybody off yesterday. But nothing else happened, did it, yesterday? I don't think.
I don't
We
think so.
got Europa.
Yeah, I can't really think of
Title was done, wasn't it? Title was done.
Yeah.
Relegation was done, but I can't think what happened. I heard the. How do you know if the Arsenal title parade started yet through North London, or do you know if that started?
I saw the email saying that they're planning on going ahead with it. So I don't know what must have happened, because I saw also I saw the title lift being like prepped. And I saw the like Arch saying 2023-2024 Arsenal Premier League winners. Yeah, so
I saw that.
I can't remember them lifting the trophy, Ben.
I didn't see that. No, I don't remember seeing them lift the trophy.
That's odd, isn't it?
I could be wrong. I might have to have another look, but I don't remember seeing them winning it. But I did actually see my mate who's working in London at the moment did actually send me a picture of the bus going past, and it just said "proud of our team" on the side. So I don't know whether they've replaced that with winners or something. I don't know. But yeah, no, good for them to have a nice little celebration in the sunshine today. They should be really proud of what they've done this season.
Yeah. I saw Declan Rice crying and Havertz crying and Saka crying, but I thought they were like happy tears.
Yeah. It's funny how Saka didn't turn up in that big game yesterday when they really needed him. But
he was limping in training already.
Yeah, exactly.
In preparation.
Yeah.
Inject it. It was
shame
about the Arsenal.
Shame about the Arsenal. Bottlers again, ole ole. Bottlers again. I tell you what, they did not like that. They did not like that. I got. I think yesterday was probably the most amount of bites I think I've ever had on TikTok.
Oh, really? Serious?
It was hilarious. Yeah. It was very, very funny. They're like, well, actually, we didn't bottle it because it wasn't the same as last year. Like, they were always going to win the league. It was like, oh my god, take your fucking joke, you insecure bunch of little gimps.
Yeah, innit.
All wearing your shirt, all wearing your little Arsenal shirts. Oh, did you see that video of the Arsenal fan walking through Stamford Bridge?
Yeah, going around on Twitter. Fucking hell.
Like, a lot of the Chelsea fans in that video were twats, right? And it was quite funny because do you know that guy wearing the Lampard t-shirt?
Yeah, the police come.
Yeah, he's proper shit himself, which was funny. But like, I can't explain this to anyone other than Spurs fans who like get it, or maybe other fans do as well. Because I think these last couple of weeks made you realise that actually nobody wants Arsenal to win the league, which is quite funny. Even West Ham yesterday were joining in with the City sort of celebrations, which was funny.
Oh, you're watching Declan Rice as well.
Yeah, exactly. But only an Arsenal fan would do that. Only an Arsenal fan would walk through Stamford Bridge with his fucking gimpy little red top on and act like nothing would happen, expect nothing to happen. Like, I'm not saying that they should have fucking punched his head in or whatever, but like, only an Arsenal fan would do that.
Yeah.
So that was very funny.
I saw so many Arsenal kits yesterday, and I was fighting the urge to be like, "Well done on the win of the league, mate." Like, but then I was like, "I'm not going to do that." But I was looking at them thinking, I'm so happy how much they're hurting. Like, I was thinking they must be hurting, and I'm loving it. They're walking around like little gimps in their shitty little Arsenal kit. Bearing in mind, this new Arsenal kit is fucking jizz. It's crap. Like, it is absolute crap. I've never seen enough, because actually Arsenal kits, like, I hate saying it, but their kits are quite consistently quite nice, I'd say. But this new one is fucking shit. Of the amount of Arsenal kits I saw, they are literally club shop FC. Like, it is literally a personality trait. So of course, like, a dickhead would be walking through Stamford Bridge with his Arsenal top out. Of course,
I've got to get the new one with my name on the back, even though I'm 28 years old and I still live with my mum. Mum, can I get it for Christmas? Charlie 9 on the back. You can fuck off, mate.
It was so happy seeing their tears. And like so did you watch you were at Bramall Lane, weren't you?
Yeah.
Did you watch any? Were you streaming anything?
Nah, No,
So
the updates were going on the phones and stuff like that. It was just like what you'd expect. People just like it was literally funny. It felt like we kicked off and it was like 1-0 City, 1-0 City. Everyone was like, "Way!"
yeah.
Like it felt like it was like straight away, even though it was like 3 minutes into the game or whatever. But it felt like we kicked off and then City were 1-0 up. But no, people were just updating on the phones and stuff. I wasn't really watching it. But yeah, what did you do? Because obviously Spurs game went on TV. What did you do? Did you stream the Spurs game and then watch the football on TV?
Ben, are you accusing me of illegally streaming the football game?
How did you watch the boxing on Saturday night, Will? I paid for it on DAZN, actually.
Yeah.
Same. Didn't bring the Fire Stick round. Nah, no way.
No way.
Didn't get a perfectly clear picture where it didn't drop out like once.
No.
They never do that.
Of course I wouldn't. So I watched the game on my laptop. On my phone, I was watching so I kept flip-flopping between Arsenal and City. But before I even sat down, City were winning. So I was like, fucking hell. Like, so much stress on my shoulders. And then so I straight away put the Arsenal game on to see the fans' reactions around the crowd, because on final day you always see the reactions of the crowd, don't you? And I was like injecting their tears into my like veins, like dosing up. I was so
mainline that shit,
mate. It felt so good, and you're looking at them looking so disappointed, and then they go 1-0 down as well. But it was just so funny in that, like, in a way, it was. I did shit myself a little bit, but it was so perfect in hindsight, the way it all like planned out, because Arsenal equalised and West Ham equalised against City. Got one back against City, and I switched it back to Arsenal. Actually, no, I didn't switch. Maybe I was watching Arsenal and then I saw West Ham scored. Everyone was going mental and the atmosphere like got back up. And then that rumour went round of the 2-2. And everyone's going like, Hammers, like, please. and it never worked out for him. By the end of it, I was watching the City game and when Rodri scored, I was just like, oh, thank God, I can just relax. This is perfect. It gave them that little bit of hope. And that just made them so much more disappointed. It was so good. You know what? It's funny you should say about them saying like they're proud of their team or whatever. It's weird how they flip-flopped on the whole, you have to win trophies to back up a good team.
Funny.
Yeah, it's funny that. That is funny, yeah. And I'm curious because I think the one difference between, in like fairness to them, like Kroenke and Levy, is that when we were at that stage, Spurs didn't back it up. Arsenal, they probably will keep trying to back it up, but what I'm hoping is that the thing that happened with Pochettino is that how many times can you not cross the finish line and keep telling the same message and it's sticking with the players? After a while, those players are going to start looking elsewhere or getting sick and tired of the same voice telling them how to win when they haven't won anything and they've got nothing to show for it. So I'm hoping there'll be a bit of a fall off, because it must be such a psychological battle to keep going and keep getting knocked down. I mean, we know from experience, we had like an incredible team and we were all saying, well, they ain't even in their pump yet. Like, these players aren't even in their peak. Dele Alli, Harry Kane. By the time they reached that peak, the team had sort of collapsed anyways, because I think they stopped believing a little bit. I'm just hoping that happens with Arsenal. But it was so relieving for them to just be disappointed. So happy. And I was thinking, and I keep seeing tweets of like, Son equalised with a 1v1 at the Emirates. That took 2 points off Arsenal. They lost the league by 2 points. And Son had the exact same thing last week against Man City, and he missed. And I was just feeling like, Mr. Tottenham. El Capitan.
My skipper.
Yeah, my skipper.
When you think about that, I didn't really think about that at the time, but it's basically like the exact same chance as well. It's like the exact same chance. Wait, what? The one at the Emirates, the one at City, like it's the same. The one at Arsenal that he scored, and then the one at City against City that he missed.
Oh, same chance. I thought you were saying chance with. Like,
no, sorry.
Yeah.
No
chance.
Although there was a lot of good chance yesterday, which didn't go down well.
Really? Why?
Well, it was like the bottlers stuff, like bottlers again. Just like, because it was just the same shit as the other day, where it was just like, oh, you're such a small club, you're reveling in our misery more than you're celebrating your own success and all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, we are. Fuck you. I don't give a shit. We don't give a shit. It's just funny. Like, there was a bit of relief yesterday, because there was a moment where I did shit myself when West Ham got one back and then Arsenal equalised. But you need that glorious moment of the fake rumor of the equaliser going around the ground. Hang it in the Louvre.
Yeah.
Hang it in the Louvre. They're all going like this. They're all going like this. Come on,
please.
Do you know what? No other ground. I'm sorry, but when does it ever happen? And I always see they always do it at the Emirates, but they just pan around to the crowd and they're zooming in on them and they're like, please, come on, Arsenal. They don't do it at any other ground. It's the same little muggy Arsenal fans that are just like, oh, get me in front of the camera with my new fucking shirt on, the Premier League badge on the side and my fucking name on the back. Honestly, they're the biggest bunch of shirters, fucking Club Shop FC, like you said. They are just. I'm so happy they didn't win it. And I think yesterday the penny dropped for them really that like nobody likes them. No, I don't think anybody wanted them to win that, other than maybe Liverpool fans wanted them to win it because they were like, well, you know, we're not really in it and we don't really hate Arsenal that much. And the whole thing of like the rivalry with City and Liverpool over the last few years, maybe even United fans didn't want them to win it. West Ham fans didn't want them to win it. Chelsea fans didn't want them to win it. You know, there's people that probably would have because it's exciting for the Premier League, but you know, and this is whole thing as well. That's like, oh, we deserve Havertz. Like, it's not fair. You know, I thought we deserved it. You didn't get enough points, mate. City caught up with the goal difference in the end as well, by the way, which I don't think
they did.
It's mad. And City with a better team. City with a better team. Arsenal were excellent. Don't get me wrong. And like you said, I think the difference between Spurs and Arsenal at the point that we were at in this very similar position to the point they were at is the fact that. One, to be fair to them, they've actually taken it that far. It's gone to the final day. Also, like you feel like their infrastructure is there to kick them on. And what you said about kind of listening to the same old voices every time and kind of listen to the same old methods. If you look at Guardiola and City, the way he's chopped and changed and refreshed the squad and been a bit brutal with certain players and continued to bring players in, even if they haven't spent. I know, forget all the charges bollocks because all that came up again yesterday. It's like, yes, City are probably guilty of something, but it's just a boring. I find that more boring than actually like. I know it's big. I probably say that because it's like I don't really give a shit about City, and I actually quite like them and the fact they've stopped Arsenal winning the league. You know, forever in our debt, I suppose. But I think I find the whole narrative around the charges a little bit boring. If I'm honest, I think people are kind of just using that as a bit of a stick to beat them with. But the way they've actually like the way they've chopped and changed that squad and been brutal with it, you can kind of see Arsenal following that same method, which is something we never did. And I think the reason things went stale is because the squad went stale. Whereas at Arsenal, I think they're just going to keep moving. And whether that gets them close enough, who knows? Because like you said, again, there might be some fall off next year. When Pep in his interview after the game said, oh, you know, I'm closer to staying than to leaving, but you never know sort of thing. I was like, you better fucking not leave. I was like, I swear to God, if you leave now where Arsenal are like this, I'll go outside the fucking court myself and start banging for those 115 charges.
Well, it's funny you say that though, because I actually this season's done. And I love how I'm with you. With you saying like I can't believe the season was over because it was just getting really stressful by the end of it, and it was that whole stress building up on your shoulder. Yeah, the stress of building up your shoulder of the possibility of Arsenal winning the league, and also we were going through like a hard run of form. That was fresh in the memory of what was actually a really positive season. So I was sort of like, okay, I'm relieved, and now we can look forward to next season where we'll start all square again. And Ange has been saying it himself. Now we need to stop them winning the league by winning the league. It's down to us now. Yeah. So like I know that sounds like a stretch with the state of the like where we are as in a process, but that's what Ange's looking to. And actually,
that's the mindset to implement, isn't it? It's not just as simple as like, well, if you don't want them to win it, we go and do it. But it's that's the mentality and mindset that you have to have as a club moving forward, and that's what we've all got to just get behind now.
But yeah, exactly. But you know what? Now this season's ended, and forever in debt to Man City. I mean, as long as Arsenal are winning next year, I'm pretty sick, and I'd be so disappointed if City win the league again next year. I think like 5 in a row is like, but then you're thinking who would win it then? I don't think Liverpool are winning it. It would have to be Spurs. So like, because I mean, City over Arsenal every single day of the year, of the week, or every single day, whatever the saying is, 100%. And as long as that's the case, then yes, City all the way. But look, watching City win the league, you're thinking they don't even care that much, which actually it was even better that in that case because they took it away from Arsenal and they weren't even that phased. But I just want us to be there so bad. Just stop Arsenal. And also City, 5 in a row would be a bit of a piss take on the league. It would be. I do get people getting frustrated, but I mean, as a Spurs fan, you want City to win the league all day. But now, next year, what I'm trying to say is next year we will start at 0 again. So like, let's get this summer transfer window. We're going to get in the transfer window later. I mean, obviously it's unrealistic, but if we can get the crucial key elements to this that would need upgrading in the squad, we've got the mentality. We've got the right coach to take us that way. 100%, I think.
Yeah. Do you look at Bayer Leverkusen and just think
that's it? 100%, 100%. And that's not even like if last season. Yeah, they were decent. No one expects them to be where they are. No way.
Nobody could have seen that coming.
Yeah, but let alone the league, let alone unbeaten in the league and unbeaten in all competitions in every single final. They've won every single game they could. It's ridiculous. And I mean, they're the Spurs of the Bundesliga. And you're seeing a little bit resembles.
Never ever won it before.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You're seeing there's definitely a resemblance between Bayern Leverkusen and Spurs, and you never know. Football's is an amazing thing. Sometimes you got to go through all the lows to then that high.
Yeah,
and it normally comes when no one expects it.
Yeah, you just got to believe, mate.
You just got to believe. Yeah, we're not happy with fourth. We're not happy with that.
I believe.
Let him dream, mate. Let him dream. Going back to that quote after Crystal Palace.
Let him go. Let him go, mate. Let him go.
Let him dream. So we've been. By the way, I've been worried about this. No one actually cares about this, but I want to see how I do throughout this episode because for the whole day I've been coming to terms with this is my time. Because the whole day my heart has been racing and I've just been sat down and I don't know what's going on.
You're gonna die mid-pod.
That'd be pretty brutal. Yeah, that'd be so brutal. But yeah, stick with me if I start getting brain fog and stuff. I actually last time I felt like this way I had COVID. So
oh god.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I actually saw a tweet of someone getting COVID earlier and it was like, bro, it's 2024, man. That's just fucking grow up.
Just get on with it, mate.
That was 4 years ago.
I know, yeah.
That is mad, by the way. That was
mental. 4 years ago. Yeah.
That is absolutely crazy. I remember when I think we were supposed to play Man United, and that was the weekend everything sort of got shut down. We were supposed to play Man United at home. And then everything just went into fucking lockdown. It was just
crazy.
Mourinho at the wheel. We had no players.
Yeah, taking Ndombele and Sanchez for a run and getting done for it.
And Aurier as well, wasn't it?
And Aurier.
That was amazing. That was absolutely amazing.
The only time Ndombele ever ran in his life, he got fucking fined for it. That's probably why he don't do it on a pitch.
Running around fucking Hampstead Heath with Jose Mourinho.
That's so random. But Bayern Munich have gone through a lot of shit. Not only this season, but right now the season's ended for them and they're still in the trenches. And obviously we've been confirmed to play 2 friendlies with them in the summer, 1 at our ground and 2 at Seoul. I think that was part of the Harry Kane contract. But mate, Harry Kane, if you're Harry Kane, what are you thinking right now? Because they're linked with they've been rejected by everyone and their nan for the managerial job. And now they're in talks with Thomas Frank and Vincent Kompany and Bayern Munich fans and inject this because of all the shit they were giving us in the summer about being big club and that. Bayern Munich fans are going into meltdown being linked with Vincent Kompany and saying this is a manager that's just been relegated for the Premier League. Why has he now earned the right to manage Bayern Munich? It's because no one fucking wants the job, mate.
Yeah.
If you're Harry Kane, what are you thinking? Are you coming back to Spurs? Should we put a cheeky bid on him?
Fuck it, why not?
Fuck off the 2 friendlies. That can go to you, Bayern.
Yeah. What is that all about, by the way? Why are we playing them twice in a week? 1 in Korea and then 1 at Spurs? Why?
It's
why
revenue, innit? It has to be revenue.
I got an email earlier about it. This morning I woke up and it was like, we're playing Bayern Munich. I was like, yeah, I know about that. It's like, oh no, we're playing them again. It was
twice.
Twice, literally in the space of a week.
Maybe one was part of the Eric Dyer deal, one was part of the Harry
Kane. Yeah, Harry Kane, yeah. Well, they might be able to have another one next year if Emerson signs for them. Jesus Christ, that is another one. It's like the David Brent Office meme, isn't it? Where it's like he goes on a blind date and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. When Harry Kane sees Emerson walking through the door. Which, by the way, we should probably talk about the fact that I tweeted that, but we also tried to get another Twitter thing going, didn't we? But didn't quite get... I got some momentum on my tweet, but yours didn't take off in the way that we wanted it to. We thought it was going to go triple platinum. We were sitting there after the podcast the other night. Basically, for anyone that doesn't understand, so Alistair Gold uploaded a video on YouTube, one of his like hour sort of long digest of Spurs, and the thumbnail was him doing this. So I tweeted him like, "Oh my god, Alistair Gold's going to be on Rashford's Instagram story soon," and that my tweet like banged a little bit, and then I was like, "Oh my god, Will, we need to Photoshop Alistair Gold onto Rashford's Instagram story." And we did it, but it didn't quite take off in the way we wanted it to.
So anticlimactic.
But yeah, no, if they're in the mud by him. Like we were talking about this at the weekend. Like, I think their trajectory is almost a little bit similar to Man United in the sense of that big club that's kind of just free falling a little bit like this, and their sort of strategy and approach to everything kind of reeks a lot of United.
Yeah,
for me, like that's how it very much seems. Like, especially with like the experience, like older head figures at the club and stuff like that, and people always putting the 2 cents in. I get that there's that kind of pressure because, they're the biggest fucking club in Germany. But, what's happened to this season? It's a freak season. Bayern actually haven't been that bad. It's just that Leverkusen have been really good and Bayern have been poorer than they would be. It's not like they've been terrible. But, to finish third the other day, like obviously Kane didn't play because I think he was having a thing with his back or something, which is apparently why he got subbed off in the second leg of the Champions League semi-final.
That ain't true. They're covering that how shit of a substitution that is, I think.
Yeah, but it's a weird one. But I mean, Thomas Frank, man, like, Jesus Christ. I don't see the hype with Thomas Frank. I'll be honest.
No, I don't see it, especially at the club with the stature of Bayern Munich as well, mate. I feel so bad for Harry Kane. Like, he sold his soul, and there's actually a higher possibility than that he goes trophyless again next year with how good Leverkusen are with Xabi Alonso, and they're keeping a lot of their key players as well, and they're so good at bringing in that recruitment. I can't see Bayern Munich winning anything next year again. And what is Harry Kane? Harry Kane will leave again in search for trophies.
Yeah,
like I mean, I don't know whether that means he's unlikely to come back to Spurs, or by next summer, say looking at that Spurs team thinking that's a complete team.
Just a 30-goal season striker away from winning the league.
Yeah.
Could we?
Why don't we just put a cheeky bid on him now? Get Harry to cause a little fuss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we just play them off the park in those 2 friendlies, and he goes, "I want a bit of this." He calls up Ange and goes, "Ange."
Yeah. Or maybe we sell Emerson Royale to him in the first day of the summer, or the official window, and first day of preseason he arrives. Emerson Royale's there. Harry Kane goes, "What are you doing here?" And then he puts an out transfer request. just put Tottenham over there and make him want to come back.
Yeah. What are you doing here?
But yeah, I feel so bad for him, and I don't know. Like, come back, Harry, mate.
What's German for Emerson Royale? Get out of our club. That's what the Bayern fans are going to be singing that first pre-season game.
To be fair, though, he'd probably look like fucking Cafu, the way Dyer's taken to the Bundesliga. We thought they were going to sing the same thing about him. He's been unreal.
Yeah. He can't defend. He can't attack. Emerson Royale is our wing back.
My God,
I love him. Sorry, before that as well, the most Emerson Royale thing happening yesterday, where he did that step over, just the most blatant dive you'll ever see. That was absolutely amazing. I saw a clip of it earlier because I wanted to make a video about it. Someone posted it from the stands, and then Romero just goes over to him, just like, "Get the fuck up."
Yeah. Do you reckon? I know we talked about this last pod, but do you reckon his agent sends clubs his compilations?
Yeah,
just be like, don't watch him in games. Just watch these compilations.
I reckon Emerson does it himself.
Yeah,
like he makes them. No, I'll send it. I'll leave it to me. He does. You know that Kanye tweet was like, "I don't have a manager. I cannot be managed," or whatever.
Yeah, that's Emerson.
Literally, I think that's Emerson with his agent. He just does it all himself.
He just calls clubs up and being like, "I didn't have a look past today."
Yeah,
just letting you know, and then just hangs the phone down.
Who was that? Cool. Yeah, they're like, who was that? I don't know. Some guy saying he didn't have a no look pass. I don't know.
But yeah, he could take the Bayern well. Apparently, it's not likely.
No, apparently Milan seems more likely, doesn't it?
Yeah, Milan. Yeah. And
any news on Milan?
But Dyer, talking about Eric Dyer, the England squad comes out tomorrow.
Yeah,
do you think James Maddison? He'll probably be in the initial one, but do you think there's a chance that he might not make the full team with the emergence of Eze's form, Obviously, Cole Palmer can play central. Foden can play central. Grealish. I know Grealish is probably at risk as well, just as much as Maddison.
Yeah.
Can you? What are you thinking? Because then that would mean that there is no Spurs player in the England squad.
Yeah.
And Eric Dyer will be in. Probably be in it. Yeah.
Which for a major tournament is crazy, really. I can't remember when we spoke about this on a pod a few weeks ago, when we were talking about the fact that basically every other England squad but in our kind of recent memory, every tournament that we've had has been stacked with Spurs players, really.
Yeah.
You think of the 2016 Euros and then the 2018 World Cup, like the core of that team was sort of made up by Spurs, really.
Yeah.
With, Walker, Dyer, Dele, Kane, Harry Winks.
Captain as well.
Actually, Winks never made it to a squad, did he? But he was in the team a fair bit in the qualifiers and that. But who else would have been there?
Trippier.
Trippier, that's it. Yeah. Trippier. Rose as well. Was at both those tournaments. So I think Maddison. So it's the 30-man prelim squad tomorrow, and then the 26-man squad. It gets cut down, I think, in June. They play 2 friendlies, don't they? Like one's next week and then one's the week after, and it gets cut down after that. I think Maddison. It's for me. There's only. Do you think there's room for one of Eze and Maddison, or do you think there's any room for both?
No,
I think they'll both get in the 30-man.
Yeah,
I think Grealish will definitely be on there. I think Grealish will be in there. I think the thing that Maddison might get lucky with is the fact that Southgate is actually very loyal to a lot of these players, isn't he? But then again, Maddison's not been. Maddison's not key enough to England for him to show him that level of loyalty. Where if a place was on the line for someone who's really you can. Let's be honest though, Maddison's form towards the actual end of the season hasn't been that bad. It was just kind of that period a couple of months ago, and I think he was sort of suffering from what everybody in the team was almost going through at the time, and I think it was probably a little bit overblown. But from a neutral's perspective, you probably couldn't find 2 players who are going in different directions at the end of the season, playing in the same position than Eze and Maddison fighting for the same place. And you'd say that Eze deserves it. He probably does, doesn't he? I think they'll both get in the preliminary squad, but I think if you take your Tottenham hat off, I think if one's going to make it, I think it probably has to be Eze. But I still wouldn't be surprised if it was Maddison. I think Maddison still might go, I think.
Do you think we'll be talking about this problem of Maddison or Eze tomorrow, next season, as in Spurs, in the context of Spurs?
Yeah.
Who's playing? Eze or Maddison? Do you think what's the likelihood, do you reckon?
I fucking hope so, mate. I really hope so. Did you see his goal yesterday? A couple of goals yesterday.
Yeah, it's fucking unreal. Mate, get Mateta.
Yeah.
Where the fuck has he got this form from? He's become
unreal.
Unbelievable.
He might be my favourite player in the Premier League.
Yeah.
He's the tucked in shirt. Did you see his celebration as well? It's just like this to the fans. It's just like that. I love it. There's something really likeable about him. And he did an interview after the game being like, "Oh, if England want to win anything, Eze has to be on the plane." It's probably right. Probably not going to play, and he's not going to start. But I think he's got to go, and he's got to come to Spurs. No excuses. Get him on.
So let's talk about this actually. Then let's move on. So by the way, this is quite a blockbuster episode, okay? Because we teased it last week or the last episode. This is our season review, okay? I know we're 30 minutes in, but this will be after the season review. But before we do that, there's been a merging transfer window this morning. So last episode where we were talking about looking forward to the transfer window, it's not even here, but we were still waking up to Paul O'Keefe Bombers this morning. He said Hudson-Odoi is a player we're interested in, Ben. And we've mentioned this on the pod. We said when we were asked about Morgan Gibbs-White, we said, well, Hudson-Odoi's been all right actually on the wing. And he's kind of the sort of player we're looking for in that sort of 1v1 specialist. What's your thoughts on Hudson-Odoi? And Paul O'Keefe said there's going to be 2 wingers. So can you see us going for Hudson-Odoi and another out-and-out winger like Nico Williams? Yeah. Do you think this other winger is going to sort of be a bit of a Swiss Army knife, can play everywhere? So I'm thinking the Eze's, Elise's, Goodmansons, etc. Those types of players.
Yeah. I really like the Hudson-Odoi shout. It was so weird because literally on the train up to Sheffield yesterday, we were talking about it, and it was when you weirdly manifest the transfer almost. We were talking about Gibbs-White, and it was actually, I think we'd all really like Hudson-Odoi. And then literally this morning, bang, bomber, all okay.
Out of nowhere as well.
Out,
we weren't linked at all.
Hitting an RKO. just out of nowhere. Paul O'Keefe, a PKO.
Okay,
It was a PKO, PKB bomber, Paul O'Keefe bomber, POC. No, it's class. I really like Hudson-Odoi. I think he's got back to his best at Forest. He's been brilliant. Like, he's exactly the profile that Spurs need. And I think if it means that we go for that sort of profile and miss out on Hudson-Odoi, but buy someone that's actually ready and more expensive, someone like a Nico Williams, then I'm fine with it. But I think also I'm fine on missing out with him. I'm missing out on him. I don't think he should be our number one winger choice by any means. But I think if you can bring in Hudson-Odoi to almost replace that Werner role within the squad, I think that's what it has to be.
I think so.
I've been a massive fan of that. If you get him for like 20, 25 million, which is what Werner would be like 16. I think Forest bought him for 3.5 million in the summer. Or end of the summer. I'll be all over it. I think it's class. I think you've seen playing with confidence, back to his best.
Exactly.
Like that, so direct. He's finishing as well. Like, you saw the goal against Chelsea the other day.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of exactly what we need. And I think, look, we've spoken about Timo Werner a lot on here. I think that's done now, isn't it? That feels done.
I think so. The vibe around the whole thing. I mean, like, it was a smart loan, but I think there was a little anxiety creeping in that we would sign him and he'd be one of the. And I think it would have been a bit disappointing. Like, it's because it just doesn't. It's not a Spurs signing. That's not like a project signing. And Hudson-Odoi is that. Like, when you look at his age, obviously he's homegrown. He was actually probably one of the best youth products in English football.
Yeah.
Like, what? It's been a while actually. He's been in football quite a while. But people were surprised he's 23, but about 5 to 6 years ago, he's probably the best like up and coming English player. He's really struggled with Achilles injuries and stuff like that. But this season was his first full season where he hasn't actually suffered any injuries. Yeah. So hopefully he's past that. There's a few things that I would be a little bit concerned about, because obviously we wouldn't sign him for. He wouldn't be our main winger signing. I don't think we definitely would go for another signing. But I mean, Nico Williams, if it's true that he's demanding like 300 to 350k a week, fuck him off. That's a red flag. Yeah. You don't want that. And Hudson-Odoi, like, and something that Ange would love is the fact that he's worked his way back into into people talking about him, and to have that setback. He was saying this could be a bit of a problem, but he was saying that London was a bit distraction for him. And coming to Forest he's sort of taken away from the spotlight, and he could earn that sort of trust. And Harry Brooks was saying like a month or so ago, looking at Hudson-Odoi, maybe a few weeks ago, he was saying on Twitter that when you play him week in, week out, this is what you're going to get from him. But if he's not playing week in, week out, say at Spurs, will we see that same run of form? That's the only issue. And then obviously his injuries, but he seems to sort of have overcome that. But I think it's a no-brainer, mate. He suits this Spurs, the sort of transfer strategy that we're going for. Young, fits the system perfectly. Homegrown, cheap. He is cheap. That's pennies. 25 mil in today's market for a 23-year-old at that quality.
Like buying bids a few years ago of 40 million or whatever. You know, so like you said, I could not believe when I looked at it earlier. He's still only 23. I knew he wasn't 25, 26, but it was like 23. It was just like, it's been actually really nice to kind of see him get back to that near his best
it has.
This season, because he was always a really exciting player. And I think a lot of Chelsea fans always really, you know, they sort of were pinning a lot on him and really wanted him to do well, which would make it more satisfying if he came to us.
Yeah. He was the Hazard replacement. He was the Hazard, like the new Hazard for them when Hazard was leaving, they were saying. And under Lampard, he was starting and they were saying, look at Hudson-Odoi, like he's going to be our Hazard sort of replacement. He seems like a really nice bloke as well. I feel like he'd suit the dressing room really, really well. It's a no-brainer for me. Absolute no-brainer. And then it allows us to go for a winger of a different type of mould. Someone that sort of can just keep the ball and read the game the way the game is, and for game control and switch it up, and like he'll like an Eze and Elise who understands when to start an attack or just keep the ball, and it will just make us less erratic as a team in general. I love that, and it's been coming as well, because there's been a lot of talk of how we're going to capitalize on the financial. The team's struggling with PSR. And it looks like we're going to jump on this quite quickly, I think, because they need to sell before the 30th of June. Is that right? 30th of June? They need to generate money.
Yeah, I can't
something
remember
like that.
I can't remember what the. Yeah, I think it might be actually because that was the thing with Richarlison, wasn't it? When we signed Richarlison, it
It
was
was
like they
early.
needed to get or maybe it's 30th of July. I can't remember. It's you are right though. They had Everton had the same thing with us with Richarlison, where they needed to get it out the door before that time where the financial fair play cuts off. It's either 30th of June or 30th of July. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, you're right. Forest fans must be sick of us. Like the links to Gibbs
Yeah.
White and then us signing Brennan Johnson, obviously, and then us obviously Spence a couple of years ago and stuff like that. They're just like, please leave us alone. Like, I made a video about it on TikTok earlier, and all the comments from Forest fans were like, "Can you please just leave us alone?"
Yeah. That's a bit like as soon as another player, they're like, "Oh my god, 3.5 mil. He's so good. He's gonna be so good for us next season." And then it's like Spurs have just signed him. Oh fucking hell! It's like that. It's like that David Brent.
Fucking hell!
Fucking hell! They must hate the sight of us. But it's a promising start to the. I mean, the season's been done. It's a promising start. So quickly onto Sheffield. It's a promising start to the transfer window is what I meant. On to Sheffield United then. How's your experience with watching us yesterday? Obviously, you got to take it with a pinch of salt how good we played because there was a lot of good performances. Because look at the caliber of the opposition. Obviously, they've relegated Sheffield United, but got the job done 3-0. Now we've secured that 5th place, so there's no anxiety creeping in over the FA Cup final, etc. We've got Europa League. Obviously, we talked about Arsenal losing the title. It was a good day. What was your thoughts on the way we played? Because we went for the same sort of setup, didn't we, as we did against Man City? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I liked it. Again, it's kind of like when there's so much on your mind going into those games, especially being there. It's like you're sort of battling with your focus to actually pay attention into what's going on in the game because it's like you're away from home against a side that you should definitely beat. So it's quite hard to like keep your focus when all the other things are kind of going on in the background as well, and you sort of take the game a little bit for granted almost. And don't really pay as much attention. But I thought we played pretty well. I thought there was some outstanding performances. I thought Van der Ven at left back was just immense again.
Left back as well.
It's just unreal. Do you know what? It makes you think that like have you thought about Destiny Doggy in the last couple of weeks?
No, I was thinking that was all I could think about a couple of weeks ago.
I haven't thought about him once. I love him so much. I think he's amazing. He's like a doggy. He's got, I think, generally like unquantifiable levels of potential, but it's pretty good, isn't it? Van der Ven left back.
Mate, he's literally fucking Vertonghen.
Yeah, like the first goal wins the tackle. Then the was it Porro's goal where he basically tackled it into the net and when Fodder and made the save. It was just like he's always there, isn't he? He's always there. But no, I thought Van der Ven was class. I thought the midfield was pretty good. I thought Bentancur controlled the game pretty nicely. Dragusin was decent. We looked a lot more solid from set pieces and stuff like that with him in the team. There was one chance that he sort of handed on a plate to Brereton Diaz, didn't he, with that header? But that was kind of the only foot he put wrong, really.
You expected him to as well, I think. With Dragusin, sorry, I'll just cut you off, but I feel with Dragusin, like he's 21. He looks like a fucking bloke, 21 years old.
Yeah,
like look at me, actually look at me. He was born a year before me.
Yeah,
and I'm still waiting for my first pube. And
he's got more. He's got a little more pubes in his little top knot thing.
But he's got more pubes on his chin than I have on my nutsack and crack. But he.
I'm just searching. You're just searching for the words there.
But
oh God, we've killed him. His voice is broken now as well. Do you think that yesterday that most handsome back four in Premier League history?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. 100%.
Oh, some dishes in there, aren't they? Who do you think is the fittest one?
I think it's got to be
Dragusin or Van der Ven.
Van der Ven, yeah. They're just like genetic freaks. But also, you're probably going to get like a bunch of like fangirls and that coming to Spurs. You know how like there was a period where everyone loved Mason Mount and shit, and all the Chelsea girls were like going mental for me. We're going to have that at Spurs. Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Yeah, they had the like best looking football.
You know, like in the Euros, where like the Euros a few years ago, all your girlfriends were just like, Jack Grealish plays. Grealish playing.
Yeah. That's
like, is Radu playing today?
Is that Mickey van der Ven? Is he playing left back again?
Someone actually, he gave it. I saw the girl like in the crowd. I think it was a girl, but she had like this sign that was just like something about Mickey. I can't remember what it was. I'll try and find it on Twitter. It was just like, I can't remember what it was.
Where he took his top off?
Yeah, and gave it to her. It was like the sign was like really funny. I can't remember what it said, but it was something along those lines of basically like being like really like fit. I'm just like, yeah, fair play.
Yeah,
Fair play.
fair.
Yeah.
She shot her shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with Dragusin, my point is like he's so young, and he's going to learn from little moments like that. I mean, his first 6 months he's getting the first sort of like run of games together, and he just looks really good. Like he's very very raw, but the fundamentals are there, 100%.
Yeah, I thought Romero was good again yesterday. Just doesn't really put a foot wrong anymore, does he, Romero?
Yeah, brilliant. What I noticed was Maddison. So Van der Ven wasn't overlapping. He was very much like an out-and-out left back. Yeah, but what we did was to sort of accommodate that. Was obviously Kulusevski was dropping a little bit deeper, and that like false nine, and then attacking the box. And Maddison was doing the overlapping runs that a doggy normally does. And we saw that for the goal of Son, obviously holding the ball up, hugging the touchline, waits for that Maddison dart in behind, makes that pass, and then Kulusevski runs into goal. And it's a bit of like a typical trademark Postecoglou goal, wasn't it? Byline cutbacks goal. And it was very, very smart because going forward, if we're talking about like missing our doggy, we just look more solid. And I think we could do that. And we've shown that we can sacrifice. We were talking a couple of weeks, like months ago, that we can't really change the right back and left back, like Porro and the dog. You can't really like change that because they're so fundamental to the way we play and the way we attack. But we've showed that there is little tweaks we can do to sort of have that solidity and do the same thing with a striker dropping back, the false nine, and Maddison making the underlapping runs, for example, and then holding that back three. And I mean, if we can get a Geertruida who's on the market for apparently like 22 million euros, which is a bargain because he's out of contract in a year. That sort of, but to be fair, he can invert as well. But that sort of more defensive right back, we can have a doggy play left back, Van der Ven, Romero, and Geertruida right back, and do the same thing on the other side. Like there's loads of different ways we can sort of look at it. Now we know Van der Ven can play left back. And we've seen a sort of a new system that works and a plan B.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think you're completely right. I think Maddison just felt a little bit freer, didn't he? I think there was sometimes, maybe hindsight is a powerful thing, and I think once you play that well against City on Tuesday and then you get a result like that yesterday, you're kind of looking at thinking, well, why didn't we do that earlier on in the season? I think my frustration about it, I'm not even really frustrated. I just would have liked to have seen more of it, so we had a larger sample size of just like, will this properly work?
Yeah,
because like I was still like when they changed it against Burnley, and Dragusin came on and Van der Ven went to left back. Obviously, he goes on to score the winning goal, a fabulous goal, and he looked really comfortable getting forward. I was like, this is brilliant, but I was like, I still need to see more because I think the game state at that time, Spurs were pushing for the winner. It looked great, all those kind of things. Burnley were a little bit open because they needed the win, all that kind of stuff. But so I would like to see that stretched out over a larger sample size of games. I'm not saying I want a doggy to still be injured going into the new season, but it would be nice to see more of that back four just to see how well it can kind of gel over a longer period of time. Because it felt nice. Everything just felt a little bit more. I don't know.
It didn't stop us in attack either, though.
It really didn't. Yeah, it didn't. I'm not saying it felt better because I still think the way that we were playing at the start of the season with Porro and a doggy flying the way they were was just amazing. But there's something in that. There's 100% something in that. And then Kulusevski in the false nine as well. Like the way he took that goal yesterday, the first goal was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Like that low and half finish across the goalkeeper, just his awareness of how to use his body to get himself into that position as well. Then his second goal was just a striker's goal, just like a bit of an ugly one, just getting in there and just putting it over the line. Like that's kind of what you need to do. I'm not saying it's the answer, but it could definitely be a solution going into next season as well as an option to bring him off the bench or start him in maybe Europa League games through the middle as a false nine, because I think he does look more comfortable centrally in this system, whether that's in the number 10 or as that almost more false nine or even as more of an actual striker. So I was encouraged with what we saw yesterday. Again, like you said, you kind of have to take it with a pinch of salt a little bit because of the opposition and the scenario of them already being down. But again, yesterday, we've been there before. Like that could have been a bit of a banana skin game for us. Look, Sheffield United are shit, right? They are pony. Yeah. But we've been there before on the final day against already relegated teams and going into it shit in a pants. So what is it about Kulusevski against already relegated teams on the final day? He just turns into prime Messi, doesn't he?
He's so
Norwich,
good. Yeah.
Norwich a few years ago. He just loves it. But no, I'm pleased for Kulu because I think he's coming for a lot of stick, really. A lot of stick throughout the season. I think he's a player that people just like to assume that he doesn't suit the system, but I think it's just about finding the right balance. And look, he can still be a good winger for us, but if he can thrive centrally as well, that that protects his long-term future at the club because he's so versatile. Versatility is so important in modern football, especially in a system the way that Ange wants to play. We've seen that with Van der Ven. You've seen that with some of the other forward players as well. Obviously, Sonny playing on the left and playing through the middle. I thought Sonny looked more comfortable yesterday. That pass down the line was it to Maddison who cut it back for Kulusevski? It's a lovely pass. Just looked a little bit of just a weight off the shoulders, didn't it, with Sonny? And I'm pleased because 27 goals and assists in the Premier League for Son. Bad season, apparently. It's been shit. Has he been shit? No. Son been shit? No, it's been class. So shake fucking mouth.
Yeah. You know, really quickly on Son, we were getting a bit of stick in the Spotify comments because we last week we rated Richarlison's season above Son. And actually, I was thinking, fuck me, did we actually do that?
Yeah.
I didn't even realise we did that.
I have to watch that one back. I did. Do you know what's funny? I did. On TikTok. I'm gonna do the same thing. I've recorded one earlier for the forwards, like grading everybody's season out of 10. And I'm pretty sure I probably gave completely different ones to what I gave on the podcast last week. And I'm pretty sure I gave Son higher than Richarlison on that. Look, I think with Richarlison, like relative terms to the actual minutes, like he was amazing for us. And I think you want to your sympathies lie with Richarlison a little bit. So maybe he gets a little bit of that because of what he's been through and stuff and the kind of how he's found it hard to get that momentum through the season. So and we just love Richie, but I mean Sonny's been great. But I do think Sonny comes in for some over the stick is just a bit over the top. But when he's coming away, I think it's 26 or 27 goals and assists in the Prem. Is that bad? Is that shit?
Mate. Unreal. And so with Kulusevski, also shout out to Porro, he got a goal. He was unbelievable again yesterday. And even like the pass to Romero, like the cross, like he was up and down, involved in everything. And the goal was, 2 goals in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Very, very good. And
his ball striking is a joke, isn't it? Like when you think of that Forest goal that he scored a few weeks back and then the Burnley one and the Cup and like some of the other ones that he's had and like just fucking unreal player.
He's a joke, But what Kulusevski, he has had a lot of stick, like you're saying. And I think this position sort of giving him a little bit of a lifeline because there's obviously rumours that we're going to sell Richarlison. Son in that position isn't really cutting it, and I think people getting on his back about playing like the way he's been playing up front. He looks a lot more comfortable yesterday, like you're saying, on the wing. Kulusevski, the thing is, with playing Europa League, like you were saying, it does give him that sort of. It gives Ange a lot more games to sort of try new things. And Kulusevski in that false 9. It works so well because when we were learning about Ange coming into Spurs, we're looking at his system. The fundamentals that made his striker was you're not actually going to be on the ball that much. Like you're going to have to get involved now and again and do the hold-up play, which Kulusevski is sensational at. Have it back towards the defender, the strength he shows, and get wriggling the ball out and away from the defender, and then linking players up. That's what he does every single week, like week in week out on the right wing. And he this way he's involved in the game a lot. But what I was saying about the fundamentals of an Ange striker when he was first coming in was you're not going to be on the ball too much, but you're going to have to press, which Kulusevski is one of our best pressers, and you're gonna be that bit of a poacher. Yesterday he was that bit of a poacher. He was finding space in the box, like the first one, Aston Villa 2 years ago esque.
I thought that ran back through my mind.
And then he was a poacher's goal for the third goal, just in the right place, right time, and scored. And what I see with him, and obviously he's very technical. He can link players in, and he's not an out-and-out goal scorer. That's something that you're not going to get from him. But it gives you that little tweak, that tactical tweak, where if you need more numbers in the midfield, he'll come deeper. He'll link up play, and it might be a lifeline for him. And I actually see a lot of comparisons between the way we're using him in this system to the way Arsenal have had success with Havertz, because everyone was saying Havertz can head a ball, Kulusevski can't head a ball, but he's still a physical presence. Kulusevski.
Mate, what about City at the Etihad? Could head a ball there,
that's true. Yeah, that is true. But he shouldered it. But
true.
But again, like a physical presence that holds, that you got to worry about in the box, and that's what he is. But that sort of selflessness of Kulusevski and to just hassle, he can do that, and he is a handful. So I see a lot of similarities to. And actually, at the beginning of the season, Havertz couldn't score for shit. people did not look at Havertz and think he's ruthless, and he got the confidence from the manager. And if Kulusevski can play, I've given too much credit to Arsenal, but this is just like a comparison to how Kulusevski could have that sort of lifeline back into the team as a false nine and give us that bit of versatility up front, and the way we can sort of that flexibility and the way we can sort of change from an out-and-out goal scorer that hopefully we're going to sign in the summer, and him in Europe as that false nine. I was really, really impressed.
Yeah, mate. When you look at it, like just looking at Kulu there while you were chatting about sort of the numbers. Sonny, 27 goals and assists. This is just Prem, obviously. 27 goals and assists, Sonny. Brennan Johnson, 15 goals and assists. Richarlison, 15. James Maddison, 13. Kulusevski, 11. Kulusevski got 8 goals and 3 assists in the league. Like that's all of those forwards who have come under a lot of scrutiny at times. Maddison, Kulusevski, Richarlison, and Johnson in particular. And again, we've talked about the criticism that Sonny's had. That, for them to have, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head how many that is between them, to have, 11, 13, 15, 15, and 27 goal contributions, all between those 5 forwards. That's good. That's really, really healthy numbers. So, again, the foundations are there. We should be excited. But I'm really excited for pre-season. And obviously, we've got this fucking game against Newcastle tomorrow.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? Straight away, 2 hours off the game.
It's one of those things where it's just like, apparently players are playing too much football, but then we'll go and do this. But also just, I can't really be asked against that conversation around it. Like, I was thinking about making a video about it earlier. It's like, well, everyone's just said the same thing. I just can't be asked to talk about it. Probably watch it. Probably quite looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll put it on.
Squad looks all right. No Romero though. Don't know what's happened there.
He's probably going to play fucking Olympics and Copa America. That's why.
Yeah, give him a rest. Yeah, exactly. But no.
You said about the players getting their goals.
Yeah. That's a pretty across the board. That's a pretty healthy return, considering that you'd argue that maybe their performances don't necessarily stack up to that. Like, especially someone like Johnson, it's like the amount of stick he gets. You wouldn't think that he's got 10 assists and 5 goals in the league. And Johnson and Kulusevski, 8 goals and 3 assists. Like, these are good numbers, especially if you've got Sonny up at the top of the pitch, who's got, I think, 17 goals, 10 assists. So, no, good numbers all across the board.
We scored. This was our first season. This mental. We've gone a season now without Harry Kane, which is so surreal. And we've scored more goals in the Premier League than we did last year. And we did, didn't we? I don't know if
how many did we? Sorry, what was that?
We've scored more goals this season than last season. Yeah, and that's
I actually had so compared to last season. They showed it on Match of the Day last night. So we've won 20. So this season we won 20. Last year we won 18. We've drawn 6, same as last year. We lost 2 less games with 12. We got 6 more points. We only scored 4 more goals. But then again, like you said, when you that counterbalances itself when you take out the fact that we lost the best striker, to still score more goals, even if it's only 4 more, is really impressive. We conceded 2 less, kept 3 less clean sheets, but then we averaged 12% more possession every single game. So there's that clear implementation and change in style of play, and it's obviously working because everything's moving in the right direction, basically. Obviously, other than those clean sheets, but again, like you think last year, like you'd still say. We've kept less clean sheets. We've conceded just about amount less goals, but you'd say our defenses looked a hell of a lot more solid. But there's just little tweaks that need to be made. So
100%,
all going in the right direction.
It's what you're saying about how it's not really getting acknowledged how many goal contributions the forward line have got. I think it's because it's not as aesthetically pleasing as someone having like 30 goals.
Yeah,
because you're looking at players, teams like City, who they all contribute to goals, and they've got Haaland who just smacks them in, week out. But they're just going under the radar, but they've done themselves proud this year because we haven't even filled that void, and hopefully we'll do that this season. But we've got the fundament, we've got the elements there, which Ange said. He said you can't replace someone like Harry Kane, but you can replace his goals with as a collective, and that's exactly what he's done. He's followed through with that statement. At the end of the year, we have scored more goals because everyone else has pitched in. And that's a testament to the system and the job he's done. So with that in mind, and with the summer transfer window that's coming up, by the way, this summer we're not stopping. We never stop. We're not stopping. We're going to be. It's going to be a lot of pods on transfers, etc. All the latest.
Lots of content to come.
Lots of content to come. So, but with that all in mind, transfer window, etc. What are your expectations? What are your expectations right now on how we'll do next season?
I think it'll be difficult because the Europa League adds the complication of the more amount of games, because there's 2 more games in the group stage compared to last year with the change in or compared to previous years with the change in format. There's been a lot more games. I think Postecoglou just needs. This is the summer to back the manager, because it's like things are going to get more difficult next year. Chelsea are going to get better next year. You know what Liverpool are going to be like, so there might be a space to capitalise on there if you're talking about getting into the top 4, but they'll still be good, so there'll still be a competitive threat. Arsenal and City are only going to strengthen. Newcastle are going to strengthen again. I know they've got to sell Villa. Will there be a drop-off from them? But again, you've got to balance that European football really well. I think my expectations are, lofty because of the kind of promising signs that we've shown. But there's no reason why we can't get in the top 4 and maybe hopefully go deep in Europe. And then I want a proper cup run as well. I really, really want a proper cup run.
Maybe winning it all.
Fuck it.
I think top 4. I'm looking at the teams around us. Liverpool is such a unknown entity, aren't they? Or quantity. Do I always say that wrong? Is it an unknown quantity?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always said unknown entity. Unknown quality. That's embarrassing from me. But yeah, so unknown. They are an unknown quantity. Next thing, how they're going to be, and the sort of like the turnover and the hangover from such an iconic void in Klopp. And Arsenal probably going to keep strengthening, or they could have a psychological breakdown. Man City, are they going to keep going? Probably, yeah. Maybe they'll have points deductions. Hopefully, that'll benefit us. And then I'm looking at Chelsea, and I'm a little bit worried. I am a little bit worried about Chelsea in the fact that it's sort of starting to click. There's murmurs that Pochettino might get sacked still, which would be a joke.
That's absolutely crazy.
But I think it may be around the Conor Gallagher situation. He clearly sees him as one of his most important player, one of his most important players, and we're still seeing the likelihood is that he'll probably be sold, and he probably. I think there's definitely a disagreement right now on recruitment from Pochettino and the chairman. So if they sack him, they're idiots. I mean, we know they're idiots anyways. But Conor Gallagher, what I'm thinking, I'm looking at Chelsea and seeing the sort of process sort of come together. I'm thinking, let's fucking take Conor Gallagher quick. Not even for us, but just to stop them.
I get what you mean. Almost a bit of a buffer for them, and almost someone who's not necessarily going to improve our starting midfield, but he could.
I think he would. I think he would.
Yeah, I think the thing is with Gallagher, is it what we probably need to prioritise? Probably not. But is he too good of a player to pass up at this opportunity? Probably.
Yeah, no, I think so. He would improve. I think he would improve us. He's got the technicality, but he's won the most. He's won the most pressing. He's recovered he's won the. It's like the most. Oh my god, I'm doing it now as well. It's like the most amount of ball recoveries in the final third and stuff, isn't it? Like he's basically a really good presser. Oh no. So. Yeah, I don't know. I can see it. I don't. But yeah, mate, top 4 Europa League. Europa League's likely, I think. Yeah, and I'd love to see, like you're saying, a cup run in the FA Cup. I'd love to see us go all out for I love the FA Cup. So something like that. I can see us. I know we say this every year. I can see us winning the trophy.
Yeah,
I can see us a Europa League and the FA Cup. Big chances to win with the missing void of Liverpool losing Klopp, etc. There's going to be a lot of turnovers in this summer, and we have the foundations there to kick on in the transfer window and upgrade and then go from there. So, yeah, we'll see. I'll ask you the same question at the beginning of the season. 100%. So, we are now going on to player awards, mate.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give you the question. And you're just going to say who you think. Starting with best player and why.
This was a really tough one. I think there's 2 main obvious candidates in Romero and Van der Ven. It's really, really hard to split them up because they make they make up such a brilliant partnership and complement each other so well. I think Van der Ven is kind of the obvious choice for almost more the neutral because they see the amazing pace, the amazing strength, the amazing physicality, the amazing tackles. But I don't think maybe the neutrals that we're looking at Spurs have quite the same appreciation for someone like Christian Romero. And the fact that he flies that far under the radar in terms of the overall picture of the Premier League and how people view Spurs, I think he's got to be my player of the year. It's really hard to split them up. But I think Romero's been exceptional, absolutely exceptional for us this season. I can't really think of a bad game that he's had.
Yeah.
I think he's dispelled all of the kind of myths really around him about being rash, being reckless. I know he got that red card against Chelsea. But again, when you look at that throughout the course of the season, the amount of incidents that haven't been punished in the similar fashion, I think his reputation maybe got the better of him in that moment. I think he's been absolutely amazing for Spurs. The connection what he's got with the club and the fans now, again, like he wouldn't be here if Ange wasn't here, I don't think. So that is such a testament to the manager and the trust that he's shown in him to make him that vice captain. He's amazing on the ball. He reads the game so well, so clever. Barely puts a foot wrong in any game. And again, it might sound crazy because we conceded so many goals, but it's got to be one of those two. But I think it's got to be Romero for me. Just.
Yeah, I've gone for Romero as well. He doesn't look like he breaks a sweat. Another thing is that he looks like he's bulked out as well. He looks like an absolute monster. Yeah,
5 goals as well,
which is a joke. But there's an aura to him that I haven't seen so far. There's an aura when he was placed as vice captain. I feel like he felt the importance of himself in the team, and. Maybe that's Van de Ven coming in and him playing next to an actual competent defender, but there's an aura surrounding Romero, and he's playing in a system that allows him to express himself and not look. I mean, he is vulnerable, but he sort of flourishes in that. And even when I'm thinking back to he was suspended 3 games and we were getting peppered, and you could see the hole we were missing in his position. He comes back against West Ham. I know we lost the game, but he scores a header within 10 minutes. Yeah, and you just see the importance of him in this team, and you see the impact he's going to have on this process overall. He's been phenomenal. Like you're saying, Van de Ven, definitely a shout. But yeah, because he's been incredible. And actually, in the ratings, you said Van de Ven 10, Romero 9, didn't you? But it's just because the way he's adapted to the Premier League. No one expected this at all. He's been remarkable. But yeah, Romero just for the leadership as well.
Yeah.
Right, on to best young player then. Who is your best young player of the season?
Well, this might be a bit of a cop-out. It might be a bit of a cop-out because I think really it probably should be Destiny Udogie if you're kind of thinking about how young they are and the impact that they've made. Yeah. Same with Pat Matsasar, really. But just because he does fit into the category of what the young player of the year would be in the Premier League, it's got to be Van de Ven, because if he's not going to win player of the year, he's got to win young player of the year, because he deserves to win player of the year. It's just that Romero also deserves it. Like, you can't split them. So I think it's got to be Van de Ven. Like, really, it probably should be Udogie or Sarr. And if it was those two, I'd go for Udogie. But I just think because of how deserving Van de Ven is to actually be player of the year, and I feel harsh in the fact that I've not given it to him. Obviously, Van de Ven won our supporters club player of the year. And I think a lot of fans would give it to him, and I completely get that. Like, it's very hard to split between him and Romero. So I think that's why I give him young player. I know he only really just sneaks in. What is he, 23, Van de Ven? So I think so. I can't believe he didn't get nominated for the. Bearing in mind the parameters are as such where you have to be 20. 23 at the start of the season. Like, I can't believe he didn't get nominated for that.
Yeah,
mad. But no, I'd give it to Van de Ven. I don't know how you feel about that. Is that cheating?
Nah, that's allowed. It's allowed. The rules state it's allowed. But I'd go for Udogie just because he was 20 when the season started.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And the way he's adapted, he's a freak. Like, he's a genetic freak. The strength he has, the way he's come into the Premier League, the most physical, and the role he's playing is probably one of the most demanding, because he's so up and down.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I mean, he had a couple of injuries. I'm surprised he hasn't had more. He's just been phenomenal, and you can talk all day about Udogie. And like you're saying, Sarr, Pat Sarr, shout out to him. But I guess we can talk about him for another award as well, I'm thinking.
Yeah, potentially.
Most improved player.
Yeah.
I don't know if it could be Sarr. I don't know.
Well, this one is kind of split. I did my own awards on TikTok, and this is kind of one that's like split opinion a little bit. I went for Richarlison, and I still stand by that. There was a lot of people saying for Porro, Pat Matsasar as well. I don't think you could. Sarr for me, not really, because I
just
think
didn't play.
Exactly. Like, we saw it was frustrating because we saw it was like a little, little star that just burst, and then we just never saw it again. Really, after AC Milan, played in a few games, got chucked under the bus a little bit in Newcastle almost. Let's be honest, got subbed off quite early in the game in that, didn't he? But it's Porro or Richarlison, but I think it's Richarlison. I think with Porro, although he had a tough start, I think there was always the feeling that, like, under the right manager in the right system, like, he would come good. There was enough ability that you could actually see there for him. You knew that he was going to be a good player. He had a disastrous debut. And I think that's always in the back of people's minds when they think about most improved from the debut to where he is now. But there were still games in between at the end of last season where he was still playing quite well. And I think he was getting there. I remember the United game at home where he scored that good goal, etc. So I think Porro unlucky to miss out, but I think Richarlison, from the shit season that he had last year, so much stuff went against him. Wasn't performing, wasn't the right manager, wasn't the right environment, and for him to do what he's done and turn his Spurs career around, I think it's got to be Richarlison.
Yeah, it could be Richarlison for me. I'm going to just go Porro to counteract what you're saying, just for a bit of like something different, because Porro, I think he was, there were so many concerns about his defensive ability, and he's been incredible in his one-on-one duels. His defensive, like, again, like a doggy, he plays in such a tough position where he's up and down, up and down, up and down, and there's been a few times he's looked vulnerable, but no one would have thought, if he'd played the amount of games he's played this season for Spurs in a back four in this system, that he'd be this competent at the back. And his attacking outlet was incredible, like it was anyways last season as well. But I think Porro, just to counteract what you're saying, but everything you said about Richarlison is spot on. He's been in the games he has played. I think I'll give it to Porro just because it's like the games he's played almost every game.
Yeah, it's true. He's only missed a few, hasn't he? He's been really important. And also, like what we were talking about earlier, when you go through the goal contributions of that front four at times, obviously Maddison, Johnson, Son, Kulusevski, Richarlison as well. Pedro Porro's got 7 assists, 3 goals in the league. So like Romero's got 5 goals, Van der Ven's got 3. So we have really shared it around the team. Yeah. And Porro's been a big part of that as well. I think I saw a stat yesterday, I can't remember it, and I don't want to butcher it, but in terms of the amount of goal contributions from defenders in the league, I think maybe only one player's got more, or no, he's tied with another player. Yeah. I think with 10. So maybe Trippier is tied with.
But, I think it's Trippier he's tied with. Yeah. You could argue though as well, like Richarlison comes down to form, where I think Porro this is him. This isn't.
Yeah, he's had a bit more of a reinvention, hasn't he? Where Richarlison it's just clicked. So that's a good point. Yeah.
So I'd go for Porro, but Richarlison definitely a shout. Most disappointing season. We don't have to spend too long on this. I don't want to be too negative, but
yeah, this is a really tough one because I think a lot of people would probably be commenting now, saying maybe someone like Maddison or Basuma. But I don't think I think that's harsh. I think that they've both dipped in form at times. Again, you could argue even Richarlison is a candidate for this, but more in the point of like we saw how good it was, and it's just so disappointing that he couldn't maintain that consistency in terms of his fitness. But it'd be really harsh to give him that as well as give him most improved. I don't think he should get it. I don't really think Maddison or Basuma should get it as well. But then it's like, then you're looking at someone like maybe Solomon, who we didn't really see. It's like, did I expect enough to be disappointed? Not really. And am I that bothered that he's not in the team? Not really. So this is a really tough one. I'd be interested to see who you go with.
I'd probably say Kulusevski.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to be too harsh because he's definitely had bright spells, but it's just the consistency. He's lacked that this season. But then again, you can say that about Basuma. But again, I kind of want to move on from this because I don't want to be. We've had a positive season. I don't want to like dwell on any negativity, but because they haven't been like shit for like the whole season or anything like that.
Exactly. It's not like we've bought someone. Like last year, you'd be saying Richarlison, wouldn't you? Like we bought someone for £60 million and they've just not delivered. So it's nice that we're just having to think of like, who is it? Like, And the fact that it's Kulusevski, after all what we were talking about earlier, I think shows the standard has gone up massively at Spurs to be disappointed. But I get where you come. I'd probably agree with you because I'm a massive fan of him and I want to see more. So it's like I'd probably go with that, but it feels harsh, doesn't it? Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move because actually he had really good spells. Like even when he covered for Maddison and over like
fuck it, I'll say Basuma. I'll say Maddison to do something different because again I think we saw it, but none of them really. No one.
No. I think that some of them is just if they weren't in the spotlight, they seemed a bit disappointed, but they were definitely doing their job elsewhere. It's just they weren't like
Yeah,
taking the headlines.
spot
It
on.
just
Yeah,
went a bit
exactly.
under the radar. Okay, so most underrated player.
Oh, most underrated player.
I'd
Listen,
say
that's
I'd say
tough. That.
Sarr.
Do you mean underrated in terms of like
Neutrals or
yeah,
fans.
yeah? Is that what do you mean? Like
I think in both, I guess. I think if you're talking about neutrals, I think Romero, because I don't
yeah,
think
I
he
think
gets the
Sarr
blame.
as well. I'd chuck Sarr in that more. Like if you're talking underrated by neutrals, yeah, Romero, and then I would chuck Sarr in that category as well because I think most Spurs fans appreciate what both of them do.
Yeah,
So it's hard, really.
yeah.
Even maybe you could chuck Richarlison in the neutrals one because nobody gets it. Like nobody really seems to get it.
People want to
Outside of
hate him. That's
Spurs.
why.
Yeah, exactly. And they might see the goals and say, well, it's not that impressive. But when you compare it to last season, but in terms of the actual importance that he has to the team,
Yeah, exactly.
that's something that goes under the radar. But I would say if we're looking at it from a neutral perspective, obviously, I think Romero, by proxy of being player of the season, obviously kind of picks up that award as well, being the most underrated. But
I'm going with Sarr.
Sarr, yeah.
Yeah, because he's just not anyone that. I mean, you even talk about like Mainu. When everyone was talking about Mainu, no
Yeah.
one was talking about Sarr. He
No,
was
exactly.
unreal. And think where United finished. Okay, so now we're talking about more like more the quicker sort of categories. We can sort of just like bat off. Best individual performance.
Or I would go with I'm thinking back to I think there's kind of a few to choose from the same player really. But before that, you're looking at maybe Basuma at the Emirates was amazing, like absolutely amazing. Sarr maybe at home to Man United because he had that moment of just that you felt like that was the start of the Postecoglou era and that was really the start of something for him. But I think I would go with Kulusevski. I would either go for Kulusevski at the Etihad or Kulusevski against Forest. And I'm kind of torn on. I'm sort of torn on that really.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this earlier. I was thinking about this for a video that I made grading everybody's season, the forwards, and I was like, there was that run where it was like City, Forest, Villa, Newcastle, even where he was just amazing. But
I feel harsh now giving him that.
Yeah, I do as well. Let's fuck that award
fuck
off.
That. Yeah, no one paid attention to what we said there.
Yeah, we don't want to be like happy clappers, but no one's been disappointed. All right. I would say I'd go Kulusevski against. I'd go Kulusevski against Forest. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was amazing.
I'd say Vicario against Chelsea. When we lost 4-1 because that was the first. I know he conceded 4 goals, but the circumstances, but the brave performance. It was such a brave performance, and that was one of the first signs where I was like, okay, he's been good, but wow, 16, 17 mil.
It kind of encapsulated the spirit of the team that night.
Yeah, and that was when he sort of arrived, I think, to the Premier League.
100%. That's a great shout.
Best goal.
Again, this is another really tough one because I remember doing a half-season awards video on TikTok, like in January time, and I gave it to the goal that we scored against Palace, the second goal, the Johnson to Son cutback, because it was a lovely kind of team goal. Like Ange ball was sort of in full flow, really. We've had some belters. I would go for. I think that was probably the best team goal. Maybe we have scored some other good ones as well. I would probably go for Van de Ven against Nottingham Forest, just because how satisfying is it to see just a centre back just whack it like that straight in the top corner, just like keeper rooted to the spot, and there's celebration peeling away as well. Mate, you can even give it like you probably wouldn't, but like Van de Ven against Burnley.
Mate, I was about to say that's mine.
Oh, is it?
That's mine. Yeah.
That's a fair shout. The way he took it was just unbelievable. What between the other Van de Ven one as well?
It was just that sort of like, oh, how good is this person? Like, how good is this player? Because he's playing left back. The 10 minutes he was playing left back, people were crying out to see it. And the way he took that was Haaland-esque. Like, you were thinking, can he play fucking striker?
Better finisher than Haaland?
Yeah. And his link-up playing League 2. So, I mean, but that was it's just from the pure shock. Obviously, Porro against Burnley, that's not in the Prem, but that was an unbelievable goal. But, I mean, just the pure limbs after, pure shock of people just being like, Van de Ven just did that. But his goal where he twatted it was so satisfying. Probably the most satisfying goal. Some of the
goals against Burnley away as well, like that Porro pass through to Son was ridiculous. Well, Romero's goal that day.
Oh, yeah, cool. Well, that leads me on to best assist.
That I think
Porro's pass. The one
Porro
against Newcastle.
Newcastle, yeah, I'd go for that because
Yeah.
the way he peeled away as well from like to Ange.
Yeah, to Ange. Yeah,
that was class.
Ange had his tongue out.
Yeah, I think it'd be one of those two. Porro against Burnley, the one for Son's hat trick, I think.
Yeah,
Where he just that
whipped it.
ball's round the corner is beautiful, like De Bruyne kind of esque, really, like those sort of De Bruyne passes onto Haaland where he just had to run onto it, or
and the build up there around it.
Yeah, it was lovely, wasn't it? Little Madison 1-2 in the middle of the pitch. I think I'd probably go for Porro against Newcastle. I think the one over the top. That's a ridiculous ball.
Yeah. Favorite moment. This is the whole season. I'm going to give mine.
Yeah, go on.
When we were beating Villa 4-0 at Villa Park and Bentancur took out Cash.
Yeah.
He left one in on Cash, and that was like I celebrated that more than the 4 goals. So that'll be my one. The revenge.
That's class.
Yeah.
Favorite moment. Matip slicing the ball in his own net in 96 minutes. That was quality.
Yeah, of all the fucking shit we had to go through, all the Liverpool fixtures, Matip doing that last minute.
Yeah, I think there's a few really. Like again, trying to think of like games, like being at the games and stuff. Like I think weirdly, I mean the Chelsea 4-1 game where everybody was singing their hearts out, kind of at 4-1 down. Like that felt like a moment because it felt like everyone sort of just got what Andrew was sort of trying to do. Son, I was at the Emirates for the game at the start of the season. Son's equaliser in that game, the second goal.
Yeah.
What else was there? Kulusevski. You know what? I'd probably say Kulusevski's equaliser at the Etihad. I think maybe best moment.
What about Sheffield when he won the game?
No, fuck it. That was because it wasn't just. It was definitely it's that Sheffield United at home because not just because of the fact that it was just absolute limbs like the latest ever turnaround I think in Premier League history. Or it certainly was at the time. I don't know if Man United maybe beat it or something after that. Latest winning comeback. It was a great goal and just like the absolute limbs. I'd sent you that. We should tweet it out. We should have tweeted out before the game. But I sent you that video, didn't I? Like the go on, yeah, like that. But the fact that Wes Foderingham had fucking time wasting all game, and then when you get that, you get what you deserve. That was amazing. That I'd go with that because it felt. It felt like it felt like start something like ignited the kind of like what could we can we like this ain't us so I'd go Kulu against Sheffield United.
He was fucking yashing yesterday as well, Foderingham.
Made some good saves, didn't he? Made some good saves.
He did. It was Tim Krul performance against Spurs, and finally, mate,
still held free though, didn't he?
Exactly. Yeah, enjoy the championship.
Yeah, you're coming down.
Finally, we've got favourite game.
Ooh. Favorite game. I mean, go on. You go first.
Well, mine would be probably the Man United game, second game of the season, first home game under Pascal. The atmosphere was amazing, and it was like the first introduction of the drums. I think the trumpet. I can't remember.
Trumpet, as well.
Yeah, and just the feel of it in the sun, and us turning up. You had the feeling in your balls that it might be our day. And Star was unbelievable, and that goal hit like crack, and it was unbelievable. I felt to say that because it was the first sort of like game of welcome Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, that's a great shout. That was before I got my half season ticket, so I was right in the corner in the south stand on the corner flag where Sar like for that game, and Sar running over to us. I've got like this great picture of it.
Yeah,
that felt like a proper. That's a good shout. I went
on my own to that game. I was sat where you normally sit for your season ticket. Yeah,
really?
Someone gave me their season ticket for the day, and I went on my own.
That was class. It was just like the sun was out. 5:30, first home game of the Postecoglou. Felt how many times have I said it feels like the start of something, but it was just like I don't know. Sar just yeah. I'd go with that or maybe Aston Villa, but I think I'd agree with you. I think I'd go Man United at home. Maybe not. It wasn't the best game, but it was a great performance, and it just felt like being there. 5:30 Saturday kickoff, great atmosphere. Sar kind of announced himself again, and I'd go with that. I'd go with that. Not necessarily best game, but favourite game. I think.
Yeah. All right, Ben, you've been a legend, mate, as always. The first season of There and Doing. I know we come in late, and the first season done under Ange Postecoglou. Rate that season out of 10 real quick.
And it's been an amazing season. I've enjoyed it so much. I think this has been. I've been to a lot of games this year. Like a lot. Obviously, season tickets. I've been to all the home games and the cup games and shit, but the away games as well. I've been to more away games this year than any other, and I think I've enjoyed following Tottenham this season more than any other because there's that connection back now. It feels like kind of the Poch days again, like some really special moments, some really kind of special memories, really. So it's been my favourite season following Spurs in a long time. And in terms of our league position, like we would have taken that for the start of the season. It's great to be fifth. A massive improvement on last year. Played some great football. Yes, there's been some bumps in the road, but we'll learn from those and we'll continue to kick on. So I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I've enjoyed it so much, mate. I've enjoyed it so much, and I can't wait for next year. And bring on Newcastle, eh? Bring on Newcastle. Newcastle on Wednesday and fucking Melbourne League. Fucking Alan Decker going to fucking jungle again, League.
Actually, I haven't seen any of the Newcastle players going to the game. Actually, they must have done the same thing.
I think they're all injured. They're all injured or something, aren't they? I saw Gordon and that ain't going.
So really? Let's pump them. Let's give the Aussies
That's for St James's Park.
Yeah. That's the real quiz.
That's the real quiz. Yeah.
Legend, mate. Everyone, thank you so much for your support over the sort of course of the season. And
thank you so much.
And like I said, we're not done. Like we're not going to finish here. We're trying to push on in the summer and give you as much content as possible.
Yeah, we're daring and doing. We're not daring and done.
Yeah,
we're doing all over the summer. So there'll be a lot more.
Never
to come.
Stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Legend, mate. Where can we find Daring and Doing, and where can we find you on socials?
You can bloody find on bloody Spotify, mate. Apple, YouTube. Subscribe, follow on all those platforms. Leave us a like rating as well. Last game of the season. Show some love. We'll be back soon. Might take a little bit of a break and then come back. There'll be so much to talk about. Might do some stuff over the Euros as well if you want to do maybe like a bonus Euro pod if people want that. Like we'll do that. We'll do anything.
Unless there's no fucking Spurs players in the in the squad.
Exactly. If Maddison's not in there, you won't hear from us. But no, we'll do some stuff over the Euros. But there'll be a lot of Spurs content over the summer. So enjoy this restful period between now and the Euros. Enjoy the Newcastle game. If anyone's going to watch that. if anyone actually is subscribed to Spurs Play. So enjoy that. You can find me TikTok, Twitter, but go and subscribe to Daring and Doing. Follow us on TikTok, Spotify, Apple, and all that good shit. And up the Spurs, and we love you all.
Nice one. Love you all. And we're going to leave you with this. Whoa!